So let's get started. So in the last class, we have seen the functions. Okay, so we have seen the function, how we can declare the function. So this is a syntax, def followed by function name and parameters. So two types of parameters, non-default and default. And within the function, document string and business logic we will write, that is a function body. And finally we will return some value. This is also optional. And by default it will return none, so that we'll see today. And document string parameters, default, non-default. And also we have seen the arguments, so the values which are passing to the function at the time of function calling. Okay, arguments, non-keyword arguments, keyword arguments. Okay, and arbitrary parameters, single star and double star parameters. Single star parameter, double star parameter. Single star parameter will allow the multiple values in a tuple. Okay, double star parameters are the non-keyword arguments that are created internally as a dictionary. Okay, so basically non-keyword arguments are stored in single star arguments, and keyword arguments are stored in double star keyword arguments. So basically we will use these names, args and kwargs, but this is not mandatory. You can use any variable name, this is optional. Okay, next. So so today we will see the return statement in functions. So we can define a number of return statements in a function. Okay, so whenever control reaches to the return statement of a function, then without executing remaining part of the function, control will come out from the function execution by returning some value. See, so return is simply in a looping statement, in a loops we will use the break statement, right? In while loop or for loop we will use the break statement. So how the break will work? So in a looping, in a loops, break will exit the loop. In the same way, in functions we have the return statement. So whenever that reaches to the return, so it will exit from the function. It will stop and it will return some value. The return value function can be stored into some other variable, and we can use that variable in remaining part of the code. Okay, so let me open the program. File open, recent by core 1. Okay, so now you can open the functions. Okay, so now today we'll see the return statements. Okay, so print about some return return statement. Okay, so now, so if we write a function, okay, some addition or addition 3. So if we take the two parameters and c is equal to a plus b, if you return c, if you return c okay, if you return c, so it will return the result, some value it will return. Okay, so, and we are calling that addition function with, and here it will return some value, right? Okay, see, so here the function, it takes two arguments and it is doing summation and returning that result. We are returning some result, so we are using the return statement. Okay, for example, let's say after return if you print any like any statement, so end function end function end. Okay, so for example, I'm just commenting this line. Okay, if I run this program, you can see, so c is equal to a plus b, and after that is it is printed function end. Okay, so for example, I'm uncommenting this. I'm uncommenting this. If I run this, see, there is no function end is not printing, because here whenever it reaches to the return statement, so the function will stop the execution and it will return the value here. It is return the value here. Okay, so whatever we are returning here, no, so that will be stored in a some other variable. So for example, I am taking result is equal to, okay, so whatever we are this function calling, and this function is returning some value, that return value we are storing in some variable here, res. Okay, so if I print of res, and this res I can use in remaining part of the program. For example, right now it is 82, so after 100th line I need this value, so I can use this res value in remaining part of the code. Okay, after 20 lines again, if I want this value, I will use this value. So that's what the return value we are storing in some other variable. Okay, you can see here. So the return value of the function can be stored into a variable. We can use that variable in remaining part of the code. Okay, so see here, whenever control reach to the return statement of the function, then without executing the remaining part of the function, see, is it executed remaining part of the code? See, after this line there is remaining part of the code. This is the code, it is not executing, because it is not executed whenever it reaches to the return statement of the function. Without executing the remaining part of the function, control will come out from the function. Control will come out from the function. Okay, and execution, function execution by returning some value, so that the returned value we are storing in some other variable. If we are not storing the return value of a function in any variable or value, then the data will become as a garbage collection. See, for example, here I am taking res. Okay, so what will happen? See, just I am commenting this and I am just removing this. Okay, I am not storing this result in any variable, just I am calling, this is giving some result. I'm calling this function and this is giving some result, but this result I am not saving it in any variable. So where it will go, the data, where it will go? So the data will be garbage collection, so it will go inside a dustbin like something. The object will not create it. There is no memory used for this return value. There is no memory will be created for this value. So whenever if you assign to some variable, then for this variable one object will be created, one memory will be created for this result data. Is this clear? Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so if it is storing into some variable, it will create an object memory will be allocated. So by default every function will return none. So for example, so here here we are returning. Okay, here we are returning and we are printing the value 30 here, you can see. return value. Okay, if you want to print return value, uh, res. Okay, now run this. So it is giving return value 30. Okay, now so see this statement will not execute because here only it is exiting from the function. Okay, so let me take another um, function. Okay, this is also takes same a comma b. Okay, and here I'm writing c is equal to a plus b, and I'm printing function ended, function end. Okay, so now I'm calling res equals to, yeah, so for example result equals to test function 2 by passing 10 to. So if I print a result, so what is the output? Here I'm not returning any value. Here I'm not returning any value. I'm not returning any value. So what is the result here? What it will get?
Function end, sir.
Yeah, this will print function end, but here we are printing one more print, right? Result. We are doing one more print, right? Result. So for this print, what it will print? Previously, what it is printed here? Return value. So here we are returning C. C is 30. So that 30 was stored in RES and the value printed RES is 30. But here there is no return statement. I did not return any return statement. So here result, I'm printing the result. So what is the return value here? Tell me. What is the return value?
It will print nothing, sir, because we didn't return any value in the function.
Yeah. So that's what I'm telling. By default, every function will return none. So none type. Okay, if you run this, it will print run. It will print run. Here, it is printing the none. So even if you don't write, the function is returning none value. Okay. For example, if you return here, sorry, return here some yogi. Okay, and if you run this, the result is yogi here. So whatever you are returning the value, so that will be storing here. Okay, if you are not returning, here it is none. By default it is function is returning even if you did not write the return statement. Clear now? Are you clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So do you know why the function is executed only function call? Do you know why the function is executed only a function call? See, so this is a function. Why this is only executed when you make a function call? Do you know the reason? Okay. See, I'll tell you. So here a is equal to 100. This is my code. Okay, if you run this statement, what happen in the background? What will happen in the background? Hmm? So it will create an object. It will create an object. some address, okay, with a variable, okay, and this is the object, okay. So how it will be printed? How it will be printed? 100. When you call this a, right? When you call this a, right? See, if you call a, then you will get the value. So this is giving the value. Let me open idea. See, for example, a is equal to, for example, a is equal to 100. Okay, so I'm calling a. See, here I am written a. I'm just hitting the enter. Okay, I'm just hitting the enter. Okay, now you can see. So when I call a, okay, when I call a, so it is giving 100, right? See, if I call the a, it is giving 100. If I call the a, it is giving 100. Okay, in the same way, in the same way, for every, for every function, okay, so what is the function here? Test function 2. Okay, for every function, what will happen? Every function, one object is created. One object is created. For every function, one object is created. One object is created. So for every object, there is some variable needed, right? For every object, to refer that, to pointing that, we need one variable, right? We need one variable. So for this function object, so what is this function, this object? This is function object. Okay, so this is a function object. Function object. And what is this object? Int object, integer object. And for this object we have the variable a. Then what is the variable for this object? What is the variable for this object? Tell me.
A result, sir.
No, function name is the variable. Test function is the variable. Okay, so if you call a, it is giving 100, and if you call this variable, then this will give. So that's why with the function name, if you are calling, the function is executed. See, here also, if you call this variable, so this is executed and it is giving the result 100. So in the same way, for this object that is pointed by this variable, the function name is pointing that address, object address. Okay, the function name is pointing to this object. Okay, this variable is, that's what, if we call the function with this, if we call the function with this, then the function is executing. Okay, okay, are you understanding this, what I'm explaining here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the question is, why the function is executed only function call? Because this object is pointing with the function name only, the variable function name only. So that's what, with the function name only we are calling, then that is executing, that is executing. Okay, so see, remember this, for every function internally one object is created. So these things we should remember. So what is happening in internally in Python, internally in behind the screen? Okay, so what is happening? So if we know that thing, we will confidently explain to anybody. So even in the interview, if they ask you the question, it should not like you are giving the answer, you are explaining the answer. So that way you should give the interview. So remember, so when you are preparing, no, So if somebody asks the question, you should not give the answer. You should explain the concept. Then they will get the positive on your interview attend. Okay. So that's why you can, whenever you are reading, no. So this notes for each and every sentence, you can understand how what is happening in the background, and then only you will get more knowledge, and you can able to explain to someone, some others. Okay. So in these notes, whatever the required, no. So that thing only I was copied. I kept here only. I removed a lot of unnecessary sentences. Okay. So you must read everything, whatever I mentioned in these notes to explain that concept. Okay, so for every function internally one object is created. One object is created. Store that object address. Store that object address into the function name. As I said, the function name is the variable. Function name. So represented variable. So the function name is the variable, and we can call that function. We can call that function through that variable. We can call that function through that variable. Okay, see here def my function and print welcome. So if you see the, if you print the my function, that will show you the object address, that will show you the object address. So we can copy the function object. So this is the function object. Okay, into the variable, and we call that function through that variable. Okay, so let me write the code. So def my function equals to some not needed the parameters, just print welcome something. Okay, and here I'm just printing, and printing just the variable, just with the variable. So the difference here, I'm not calling the function, just I am printing the variable. See, the difference is, just a minute. Okay. So here I'm not calling the function, just I'm printing the object. Okay. See, here I'm writing. So what is the function name? My func. Okay. And my func open and close parenthesis. See, the first line is the object. The first line is the object, function object. Remember the terminology. This is function object, this is function calling. This is object, this is calling, function calling. Simply this is a variable. Okay, this is function call. Okay, so here I'm not calling the function. Here I'm not calling the function. Okay, I'm just executing this. See, here it is my function at so and so address. In this address memory location, this object will be there, this data will be there. Okay, this is function object. And if you can assign this function into some other variable. See, if your object is assigned to some other variable, so through this variable also you can call this function. So what is the function name? My function, right? If you call a open and close parenthesis, so here you are calling this function. If you run this, you can see the welcome print. How you are calling the function? Not with this name, you are calling the with a open and close parenthesis. So for this line it is executed. So you can give the function object, so that is a function name. Function name is the variable. You can assign into some other variable. You can assign into some other variable, and through that variable you can call the function. Also you can call the function through that variable. Okay, we can copy the function object into other variable, and we can call the function through that variable. Through that variable. Is this make sense? Clear? Any doubts?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, so what is the global variable? What is local variable? We'll see now. So global variables. Global variables, the variables which are declared outside of the all the functions are known as global variables. Global variables of one program can be accessed within all the functions of the same program. Global variables of program memory will be allocated only once. Only once. So let's see the global variables. Print global and local variables. Okay. See here x is equal to 10. So there is function 1 f1, okay, and you can print off x. Okay, so def f2 is a function, you can print off x. Okay, so for example here I'm printing uh, print in f1 function. Okay, here print I'm printing I'm in f2 function. F2 function. Okay, so now see, if I call f1 and f2 and save and run this, see, I'm in f1, 10 is printed x, I'm in f2, 10 is printed in f2. Okay, so this variable, so this variable is the global variable. So why it is the global variable means these variables are declared outside of the all the functions. So this function and above where we have some other functions outside of the all the functions, it is declared and it is accessible. This is accessible within all the functions. So in this function, in this function, so in every function it is accessible. Okay, in this function it is accessible. See, the variables which are declared outside of all the functions are known as global variables. Global variables of one program can be accessed within the functions of the same program. Okay. See, if you defined in this program, this is accessible within this program in the functions, it is accessible. It is accessible. Okay. Now, so it is whenever this statement is executed, one object is created. So that is only one time it will happen. It will never create for each and every function call. So already it is created an object one time, and just we are accessing, we are calling that object. We are calling that object. Simply we are calling. We are not creating any object again. So this is global variables of the program memory will be allocated only once. Only once. It will not create every time. Okay. And local variables. So what is the the local variables which are declared within the function are known as local variables. Okay, and local variables of one function can't be accessed outside of the function. For all the local variables of a function, memory will be allocated with respect to every time function call. See, I'll explain this. So for example, here I am taking y is equal to 100. Here I am taking y is equal to 300. Okay, so if I print here, if I print y here, and if I print y here, now tell me, so what will be print here? Y. So here y is 100, here y is 300. Okay, So what will print here? 300 or 100?
300.
300. So here before the function call, I am printing the print of x. What is the output of this print of x?
10, sir.
10. Okay. What is the print of y here? What is the print of y here?
Error, sir.
What error?
Variable not found. Something.
So that is name. The variable name is not found. So name error will get. Name error will get. See, remember the error name also, like what error it will get. You should aware of that. So if you not define the name in the above, if you are trying to access that name, so that will be the name error. Okay. So local variable means we can't access this data outside of this program, and also we can't access this y in other functions. So this is accessible only within this function only. Okay. And so how it will be created the memory? See, for example, you are calling f1. So at the time it is created object. Okay, it is done. Okay, then again you are calling same function. Again one more time it will create. Again you are calling one more time it will create. Okay, so for every function call memory will be allocated with respect to every function call, with respect to every function call. But whereas in global variables only one time object will be created, but in local variables for every function call it will be created a. So for all the local variables of a function, memory will be allocated with respect to every time function call. Okay, so local variables we can't access outside, and outside of another function we can't access. So where we can declare within the function we can declare. Okay, so for example I'll give you one code here. So let me. Okay, so for example I'm giving you one thing here. P is equal to, I'm taking 1000. Okay, I'm writing f3 function. Okay, and I'm going to change p is equal to uh, wait. So I wanted to modify the p value. Okay. So here I'm modifying the p is equal to 2000. Okay, I'm printing the in f3 in f3 what is the p value, and outside of the function print of p print of p. Okay, print of p, and I'm calling the f3 function. Okay, now tell me what is the output for this for these lines of code. Okay, so from here to here, p is equal to 1000 I am declaring. I'm def f3 function I'm created. I'm changing the p value 1000 to 2000 here. I'm printing the value in p3, and outside of this function I'm calling the print p, and here I'm calling the f3 function. Now tell me what is the output, how it will be print.
First statement will give 1000, sir, output.
Okay, here it will be 1000. Next.
Second statement will execute the function and it will give in F3 2000.
Okay, in F3 2000 it will be printed. Correct. Now again I am printing P. Okay. Again I am printing P. So what is the P value here?
1000.
1000. But here we changed P value after calling this function. We changed the P value and it is printed 2000 here. Then why it is not printing outside again 1000? Why?
Sir, local variables cannot be accessed outside, sir.
But P is not a local variable, right? P is a global variable here, you can see.
Yes, sir, but we are reinitializing p equal to 2000, so that is considered as a local variable.
Hmm. But I am wanted to like P, I don't want to consider P is local. I wanted to consider P is a global variable, but I need to, I wanted to change this value after calling this function. So this function is itself, I wanted to change the global variable data. How you can do? Is my question is clear to you? So this function itself modifying the global variable. Okay, I wanted to modify the global variable data from 1000 to 2000. What is the global variable P? I wanted to change the P value. Then after changing the global variable data within this function, I should get print here 2000, not 1000. How this function will modify the global variable data? It is my question. Are you understood this question now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's what, as you said, yeah, it is considering local variable and it is printing, then it is leaving this object. But this is same variable, right? Global variable. So that's what, if you want to change the global variable data within the function, so you should define forward declaration of global variable. So using the global keyword, you can first declare, before taking P. So I am using the P that is to equals to 2000. You can consider this P is global. Okay, you don't consider this is local variable. So we are, before this line only we are telling, okay, this variable is the global variable, so consider this is a global variable. You can change the global variable. Okay, so now if you run this, you can see 2000 is printed. Got it? So 1000 is, first it is printed after calling f3 function. Within this function p was modified and it is printed 2000 now. Got it? How now you will know, right? How to modify the global variable data within the function. How you can modify
By using a global.
global keyword. So that is this statement we are technically calling as forward declaration of global variable. Okay. So in order to modify the global variables within the function, we should define the forward declaration of global variables. Okay, global keyword is to define the forward declaration of the global variable. Example, a equals to 1000 is a global variable, and in within the function syntax, you should define global a, and you can modify a equals to 5000. Then this global variable data will be modified within the function. Clear? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So next, recursive function. Recursive function. So what is recursive function? A function itself calling a function which is called by itself. A function which is called by itself is known as recursive function. So infinite recursive function is not supported. Okay, let me write one program. Okay. So print recursive recursive function. Recursive function. So for example, if you take the f4, okay, and so here I am in f4, okay, and after that you are calling f4, f4. How this will be executed? If I run this function, how it will be executed? So first if I call the f4, it will start function execution, right? Okay. Now this will be executed. Second line is again function calling. What function? Same function it is calling. Okay. Then again it is calling, it is executing. Then again it is calling. Then again it is executing. It is printing, calling, printing, calling, printing, calling, printing. Calling. So this is kind of loop. This function is being called by itself. Within the function only, it is being called. So this concept is called recursive function. Recursive function, a function which is calling itself is called function, recursive function. But how many times it will execute? Will it work as same while infinity loop? Infinity loop will not never end. It will keep on executing until unless you will forcefully stop the execution. But recursive function will not execute that time. So it will execute some maximum iterations. So some maximum exceeds the recursive exits, then it will stop the execution. So let me run this. You can see here I'm scrolling down, okay, but after some after some prints, so it is throwing an error, recursion error, maximum recursion depth exceeded while calling the Python object. So after reaching maximum recursions, so it will throw an recursion error. Okay. So infinity recursion is not possible in Python. Okay. Infinity recursion is not supported by Python. So this is called recursion function. Okay. So we can see one example for this recursion function. Let's wait a minute. Okay. So to I wanted to like call this function. I'm just commenting this. So I'm creating def f5. Okay, and so here I'm taking some outside of the global variable. So what is the global variable? I'm taking I is equal to 0. Okay, I is equal to 0. So print of print of n I'm in f5. Okay. Next, I wanted to do I plus is equal I equals to I plus 1, I plus is equal to 1, or I is equal to I plus 1. I'm incrementing the I value and I'm writing the while loop if I less than or equals to 5. Okay, and I'm just calling the recursive function f5. Okay, I'm calling the recursive function f5. Now if I call f5, if I call f5, how it will be executed? Tell me. How it will be executed? Tell me. So I'm calling f5 function. This will start function execution. Okay. Now tell me how it will be executed. How many times it will execute?
Sir, it will first print the statement I am in F5.
Huh?
After that, it will come to the while loop and it will repeat the statement again 5 times, sir.
Okay. So here you mean I value
I value initially 0
0 plus 1
and then 0 plus 1, 1.
1. Okay.
Yeah, sir.
Next to 1 less than 5, and so it is true, then it
Then
is calling,
again it
right?
will, yes, sir.
Second time, again it will print. Now this time here I value, what is
I
I
value
value
will
here?
become 2, sir.
Here I value
2.
become 2. Are you sure? Is it become 2 or still 1? So okay, we'll see. You are telling like this will be executed till 5 times, right? So let me run, but you can see it is throwing an error. Unbound local error, can't access local variable, not associated with the with a value. Unbound local error you are getting. See, just now I told you, so here I is the global variable and here I is the local variable. You are trying to modify the global variable, but it will not modify because so I is already we have the I is already we have the global variable and same variable we are taking in the local. So in order to modify the global variable, just we need to change the global data. So we should do the global declaration. Okay, this thing you can remember. Now you can see this time it is changing the global variable, it is changing. This time it is changing and it is executing and it is incrementing the I value. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the recursive function. A function itself is called a recursive function. Next, next lambda function. Okay, lambda function. Lambda function also we can name it as anonymous function or lambda function. Okay, anonymous function. So till now what we have seen the functions, so we have seen the functions with the name. Just a minute. Yeah, so till now, how we created the functions. So def and with the function name we are giving. So now also we will write some functions that doesn't have any name. Without naming, so we will write the functions. So those are also functions. But how we can write the functions without function name? Okay, a function which does not contain any name is known as anonymous function or lambda function. Okay, syntax will be like this. So there is a keyword lambda, and we will write some arguments means we will take the value. Okay, we will take the value, or we will take the parameter variable. Okay, and we will write the expression. We will write the expression. Okay, we will write some logic here. Okay, so this is the syntax. Okay, let me write that syntax. Okay, so what is the lambda? Okay, so for example, you can take x. Okay, and you can colon. Okay, so you can do x star x, x star x. Okay, so this is lambda function. Okay, this is lambda function. So if you write the same function, equivalent function in normal function, if you write it, so how we can write? So def some function name. So function name is like my or you can take some function name. You can take okay, my simply take function. Okay, function, and you can take some variable x. Okay, so inside this, if you write return x star x. Okay, how you can call this function? Function of 10. 10. So then this will call the 10 into 10 100. So this will return the 100 value. Okay, so these both are same. This lambda function, this function, both are same. This is equivalent. But this function we know, so we will call this function through this function name, and we will pass the 10. But in lambda function, how we can call this function, how we can pass the value 10 to this variable? Any idea, Pujita? Since you are already completed your class in some other. Any idea, Pujita? Do you know how
No,
to?
sir.
Okay. So this is the lambda function. So the syntax is lambda, and take the argument or parameter, and you will write the some function body. This is the function logic. So this is function, and also I written the equivalent code with the normal function. Then how we will call this function means, this function we will assign to some variable, some variable. Okay, so I'm assigning into some variable function. This lambda function we can assign into the variable. Through this variable, we will call the function. Through this variable, we will call the function. Okay, so if you print or yeah, so if you print this function call, and you will see the output 100. Okay, if somebody asks you the question what is lambda function, then you can say lambda function is the anonymous function, nameless function. So we can we can create the lambda function. That lambda function we can assign into some other variable. Through that variable we can call the lambda function. So that way you can answer the lambda function. Got it? Any doubt, any confusion in this? Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So for example, here I taken only one argument. So if I pass two arguments, no, so you can call like this. You can see 10 plus 20, 30. So can you tell me what is the equivalent code for this? Can you tell me the equivalent code for this? Equivalent normal function. Tell me.
Def
Def
function of
function one of
x, x comma y
x comma y
return x plus y.
written x plus y. And how we can call
Function 1
function
of
one?
10 comma 20.
Yeah, sorry, 10 comma 20. So we can print this, then it will. So this is the difference. This is a with name. This is the lambda function without name. So we can assign the lambda function to the variable. Through that variable, we can call the lambda functions. Clear? Next. See, lambda function we can assign to the variable and we can call the lambda function through that variable. So this is a variable lambda and arguments and expression. So you can call with the variable. Through the variable you can call the function. Predefined functions. So there are some predefined functions: filter, map, reduce. Filter, map, reduce. So filter is a function, predefined function, which is already there. Like how we have some type function, okay, len function, and how we have a range function, okay, and also like input function, okay. In the same way, we have some predefined functions, okay, built-in functions that are filter and map, okay. So these are the predefined. Reduce is not a predefined, like not a inbuilt function, so which is a third party, some other package. Func tools, there is a func tools.py. So in that we will import the reduce, okay. We'll see that. Let's see. So why these functions we are uh, seeing in this lambda function means these functions are taking the lambda function is an argument. This filter function takes two arguments. One is the lambda function and second one is the iterable object. Okay. So for example, how we can call the function, if we create f5, and for example here you can see in the addition to, okay, addition or function test function one. So how we are calling this function? So this function, it is taking some arguments, okay. So in the same way, inbuilt, in predefined, so there is in predefined, there is a function called filter. So there is a function like this, def filter function is there, which is already created, okay. So this is taking some a comma b, okay, this is taking some a comma b, okay. This a comma b, the first a we should pass lambda. In first a we should pass lambda, and second we should pass the iterable object. We should pass the iterable object. So let's see, if we see the example we can understand, okay. We can understand. So here you can see, so filter function will take the two arguments. One is the lambda function, another one is the iterable object, okay. One is the lambda function and another one is the iterable object, okay. And before that, here we have seen lambda function, right? So I'll give you one more example. So def, I wanted to find the of cube of some value. Some, if I give the 10, so 10 10 cube we can write. So for example, how we can write the find the cube. So return x double star 3 or x star x star x star x star 3 times, or we can use like this. This is simple. Okay, this is simply we can return the cube of x. 10, if you give the 10, 10 cube is a thousand, but I wanted to little change this program. Okay, so here I'm taking one variable function. Okay, variable and iterable object. Iterable object. Okay, okay. No, no, wait. I'm taking the here the value, and here function I'm taking. Two variables I'm taking. Okay, so here what I'm doing. Here what I'm doing. I'm finding the square first. Square equals to function of a. Okay, I'll explain how it is working. Okay, so return square of a, and I'm calling x is equal to cube function. I'm calling. I wanted to pass two parameters. Okay, and after that I'm going to print of x. Okay, see here this program you can try to understand. So the cube function, it is expecting two values. So one is function. Okay, so what I'm doing, I'm passing the value 10. Okay, and in function I'm writing lambda function. Okay, lambda of x colon x star x. Okay, I'm passing the lambda function. I'm passing the lambda function. Now tell me, if I call the cube, what is the value of a and what is the value of b? Sorry, function func. So I'm passing 10 and this lambda function. What is the value of a? What is the value of function in this? If I
A
pass
is 10, sir.
a is 10. What is the function? Lambda x colon x star x. Right? This is right. When I call the cube function in a, 10 will be assigned in func. So this will be assigned this lambda function. Clear till now? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, see what is happening. What is the line? This 150 line. So what is the line? This is the function. So this lambda function is assigned to some variable here. If you observe in the above, the lambda function is assigned some variable. Okay. So through this variable, we are calling the function, right? See here. So in the same way, here func, I'm passing the a. What is the a here? 10. Right. So what will come here output? What is the output here in the sq? What is the output
100.
here? 100, because it is executing this lambda function by passing a value. A is already 10 here. 10 is coming. So 10 into 10, 100. So sq equals to 100. Here 100 into again the value 10. So 100 into 10, 1000. So here 1000 will come, the return value 1000. That 1000 we are printing return value. Okay, let me run this. Sorry. See here output 1000. Any confusion on this program? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Just we included a lambda function in this program. Okay. Now we can go with the filter function. Okay, so for example, I'm taking my list. Okay, my list. So I'm taking the 1 comma 1 comma 5 comma 1 comma 5 comma 4 comma 6 comma 8 comma 11 comma 13 comma 12 comma 15, something like that I'm taking. Okay, or you can take like this. Now I wanted to filter. I wanted to filter. I wanted to filter from this list only even numbers. Even numbers. From this list, I wanted to filter only even numbers using lambda function. See, if you want to print only, if you want to get only even numbers, what are the other ways to do in your thoughts? Like how you will do if you want to get only even numbers? What are the concepts you will use?
Number divisible by 2 gives the remainder 0.
Yeah, but how you will write the code for this? What is the like flow you are thinking to do that? That condition is fine.
Iterating the list and
So you mean you are going to use for loop
yes,
and you will take the new list and you will append, right? That is okay. That is fine. Then what is the second approach? Do you know the list comprehension? We already discussed.
yes,
So within the list comprehension also we will write the if and only that will be created only even numbers. That is the list comprehension. But if I ask you get the or filter the even numbers using lambda function, then you can do like this. Use the filter function. You are calling the filter function, remember. But where is the filter function? Is there any in the top? No. But as I said, it is a built-in function. Already it is there. Like how we are calling the type function. See, now we are learning the functions, how to create function, how to call the function. But we already in the beginning we used the type function, we used the ID function, right? These all are functions only we are calling, but we at the time we don't know we are calling the functions, and we are calling the input function. And what we are passing for the input function, we are passing the some string. So this is one argument. Is it keyword argument or non-keyword argument? This entire thing is one keyword, sorry, non-keyword argument. This is one argument where it is going in input function. These all are we already used. The function callings we already used. Okay. In the same way, we have the filter function we are calling. So filter function is expecting two parameters. We need to pass how many arguments we need to pass here? If it is expecting two parameters, how many arguments we need to pass? Two arguments.
2 sir.
So first one is the lambda function. So we need to write the lambda function. Okay. So lambda x, and here x percentile equal to 0 and comma my list. Okay, so here we are passing two arguments. So first argument is the lambda function. So that's what here I in this function I'm passing one lambda function as an argument. So here filter function we are calling, and filter first argument will be the lambda function, and second argument will be the iterable object. That may be list, that may be string, that may be tuple, that may be set, dict, everything. Those all are iterable objects. Okay, so if you are using filter, it will give you the it will take the two arguments. Till now clear? Any doubt? Okay, So when you call this function with passing these two arguments, you will get an filter object equals to filter, and if you print of result, so you can get the filter object. See, you will get the filter object in the below. You can see filter. So that's what that filter object you can convert into list. Okay. Now you can see the output 4, 6, 8, 12, 20. Okay. So these are the filtered even numbers. This is the lambda function. This is the input. So this is filtered only even numbers. Okay. Clear? Any doubt in this? Okay. Now next, I'm taking one more. My list equals to, so in strings I'm taking. Okay. Okay. Something like that. I'm taking the strings. I'm taking the strings. Okay. I wanted to. I wanted to. I wanted to convert these all string numbers to the integers in my list. How you can do? The same input I need, but that are I need in integers. Right now this list is in a strings. In a strings I have the numbers, but I need these strings into integers. How you can do? So I wanted to map this. I wanted to map this. I wanted to map this string number to integer. String number to integer. So string 11 to integer 11. How you can do? In your thoughts, how you will write the program in general? Pujita, tell me how you can write. If I ask you convert these all strings to integer, you know the difference, right? So these all are in strings, these all are in integers.
We can use the int of.
Yeah. So how you will write in for loop, right? In for loop,
Yeah, sir.
for I in some my list. Okay. So you will do, so each of int of I, it will convert, and you will append this to some other new list dot append of, like this you will do, right? This is one way. Another way is
Yes, sir.
in another way is int of I in a list comprehension for I in my list. Okay, my list. So every element from this list will be converted into integer, and that will be, you will get the integer list. But same, if I ask you to do using the lambda function. So for that, if you want to change, if you see, if you use the filter, it will filter some elements. It will not give the same number of elements. For example, in this 10 numbers is there, no? So it will not give. If you use the filter, it will be reduced. Maybe it will give same. But if you use the map function, so I'm going to use the map. So with respect to every element, it will do some modification and it will give the same count. If 10 numbers are there, 11 numbers are there, it will give 11 numbers output. That is a mapping. So mapping means we are doing some change for each and every element. We are mapping. Okay, so how do we do the map? A map function will take also same two arguments. One is the lambda function, second one is the list. So what is the lambda function? So I'm writing lambda x colon int of x, and second argument is my list. Okay, if you print res is equal to, so it will give us map object, it will give us map object. So to get the required output, so you can convert into list, and also see the output now. See 111. So these are in, now these all are in integers. These all are in now integers. It is using the map we did. Clear, filter and map. Okay. Okay. So next, so filter takes two arguments and lambda function and iterable object. Syntax is lambda function comma iterable object. Filter gives the values based on the condition whether it is true or false. It displays only true values. So map function takes also two arguments, map and lambda function and iterable object, and it will gives the based on the expression whether it is true or false. It displays both true and false values. So it will give the count will be the same after using the map. Okay. So try something without using filter and map using the normal function logic. Reduce function. Okay. So this is a question you can try. Whatever we did, same thing, no? So you can try with the without using map, and you can create a normal function. Okay, you can create a normal functions and try to solve the above things, filter things, and map thing. Okay. And reduce function takes two arguments, lambda function and iterable object. So this will also takes the reduce also takes the two functions. So here what we can do, reduce is not a inbuilt function. So it is a, we need to import that. Okay, from func tools import reduce. But we next we will see what is a module imports, but right now I'm using here. So from func tools import reduce. Okay, so this statement, what is from, what is import, what is func tools, so we'll see that in the next concepts, but here I'm using now. Just try to understand. So this is input. Okay, so if you use the reduce function, so this is also taking lambda function is an argument. Okay, first argument, and iterable object is the second argument. Okay, if you print of res, you can see the output 179. So how it is coming means, let me take the less list. Okay, so 154 some. Okay, now I am taking 3. So how it is working? So x and y, it is taking x and y. So from this list, it will take the two arguments x and y, 1 comma 5. So 1 comma 5 is the do the 1 plus 5, 6 will be the output. So 6 will be assigned to the first number. Okay, this 6 will be stored in x, and next number will come in y. Okay, now this time 6 and 4. What is the first time? First 1 and 5 was came, and the result will be stored in 6. Next value 4 will come here. 6 plus 4 10. So 10 will be assigned into x, and next number will come here 2. So 10 plus 2 12. So there are no argument, then 12 will be the output. Okay, so like that reduce will work. See, 12 is coming. Okay, so it's not need to worry about this, but you can focus on filter and map functions. So is it clear? Any doubt in this? Filter, map, reduce, and lambda function. Any doubt in this? Any doubt? Okay. So now I'm going to push the nodes. Please take in notes, and if you feel any challenges or difficulties, please let me know. So today's topic is return statement and lambda functions. Okay. Yeah, done. Thanks. We'll meet in the next class. Yeah, bye.